You have a collect call from an inmate at the Washington Correctional Center. To accept the call, press 5.
There's nothing like waking up to the sound of clacking and buzzing as the doors crack in the morning after count clears. Waking up to the reality of life in prison. For some, it is just a stop along their journey, a milepost, an experience. For others, it is a revolving door, in and out, and that's their way of life, stuck in the cycle, pulling and eating away at them. And then for some, it becomes their destination, as the hammer came down and that judge issued them a death sentence. The slow way, by way of life in prison. This is The Life of a Lifer by Taylor Conway.
Keep on walking down the line. Keep on walking down the line. Keep on walking down that street. Keep on walking down the line.
Hello, friends and family. Thank you for joining us. I really just want to give a special thanks to everybody who has supported what we're doing here at Design Conviction, Life of a Lifer. You know, we're getting some great support, and I just really want to give out my appreciation and thanks, because without that, without people actually seeing what it is that we're trying to accomplish here and come together and get behind each other on working in a common direction, I mean, none of this would be possible. And that's how it works. That's how things actually happen and change. But, you know, I just want to say that I also appreciate the team here at Design Conviction, because these people are dedicating their lives, their time, that they don't have to do, including, you know, funds, because this isn't just like something that happens for free. People are putting hard-earned money into making this a reality because people believe in it. People believe in the fact that change is possible, and we're showing example after example of how that is possible. You know, I want to say too that I'm excited about this. We have our first event coming up on the 19th over on Bainbridge Island, across from Seattle, and it's a fine museum there of art that is going to be having an event on Martin Luther King Day on January 19th, and we're going to be out there with Design Conviction. We're going to be displaying a lot of the different pieces that we've gotten from our submissions of the art contest that we hold at Design Conviction. And you know, if you're listening and you happen to be in the area, go ahead and check us out on social media and check out, you know, what is happening, and stop by there, man. Come see it, because it's not only us, but there's going to be a whole bunch of people there, and they're doing some great things and celebrating, you know, Martin Luther King Day, and I think that that's an awesome thing. And we just support, you know, people that are doing positive stuff and working in a direction towards making an impactful difference in the incarcerated lives, but in everybody's life as a whole. We just want to make things different. We want to make a way where there isn't a way. And so we have the ability to do something that hasn't been done before, really. And that's how this platform is going to continue to move forward. And I really appreciate Candace, you know, Salty Candace, our correspondent, who has been reaching out and keeping in touch with individuals across the country that are on this same pathway, doing positive stuff, trying to make a difference with whatever they have to work with, whatever means they have, and are dedicated to doing that. They've recognized that their lives can be worthwhile, and they've found meaning, even though they're serving life sentences or very long sentences. And essentially, society has just given up and forgotten about them. You know, so the fact that people are willing to reach out and do something with themselves means a lot, and that they're willing to support what we're doing, so we're willing to support what they're doing. Candace got in touch with this guy that he's doing amazing things. He's been incarcerated for, I want to say, 4 decades, if I'm not mistaken. But she's going to tell you more about that, or he's going to actually tell you more about that, because she got him on the line, and we're going to be going ahead and doing an interview. So let me hand it over to my correspondent, my trusted and amazing, not only friend, but person who is actually working towards making a difference of people that are incarcerated and serving long sentences. She's actually really like dedicating a great portion of her time to doing this work, because the more she sees of it, the more she believes. And you know how meaningful that is to me is like, I don't know, it's beyond words to me that people actually care, because most people don't. And I really appreciate that. And so if there's any way that you are listening and you could show support, I mean, that would be the best thing that could possibly happen. We're creating a community here. This is a social enterprise. And what that means is that we are trying to make a social impact. And we are reinvesting any money that we make so far. We're just putting a whole lot of money into this to make it happen. But anything that we make, 50% of that, boom, it's going back into investing into these people that are doing positive stuff and into furthering making an impact on changes. And I just want to say that anybody who supports that, I support them, and we really want to work together, and we want to create this community of support. So thank you, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Salty Candace, who's going to interview this amazing man. All right.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Life of a Lifer. My name is Salty Candace. Today we are talking with Jim Fussell, an Ohio man convicted in 1979 who is serving 2 consecutive prison terms of 20 years to life. Jim is a self-taught artist and the founder of Domino Deeds, an organization based on the Pay It Forward initiative. Jim has donated his paintings to silent auctions for Pets for Vets, Down Syndrome Association, Project X for Autism, many children's homes, battered women's shelters, children's hospitals, Grace Homes in Indiana, Aspen Way in Louisiana, Gospel Hill Ministry, nursing homes, Memory Lane for Alzheimer dementia patients. The list goes on and on. Money raised from the auctions goes to fund the various charities and programs directly impacting those in need. To date, over 8,820 of Jim's landscape paintings have been distributed. Jim's works can be seen hanging in the Pentagon, fifth ring, in a general's office wall. Pope Francis was the recipient of one of Jim's pieces. Jim received a thank you letter and a photo of the Pope. Jim's work is displayed all over the world, in Afghanistan, London, England, Pakistan, Sweden, Germany, and Australia, to name a few. Jim's hope is that the person who receives one of his paintings, that they do something special for someone else, a small act of kindness. Jim invites people who are recipients of his work to share their stories of kindness on the Domino Deeds Facebook page, hoping that if everyone follows suit, then many lives can be touched by a mere act of kindness. Hello, Jim. Thank you for joining us here today. We're excited to have you speak with us about what you're accomplishing. Can you tell us what inspired you to start Domino Deeds and what you hope to accomplish?
First off, I would like to thank you for having me and for your audience taking the time to listen. I never considered myself artistic growing up on a farm. In prison, I would find myself watching Bob Ross on PBS. Anyone familiar with his painting style can agree he makes it look really, really easy. So naturally, I fell down this rabbit hole A friend, Bill, bought me a lot of paint supplies, and Bill still has my first painting. The water was purple. To this day, I have no clue why I thought water should be purple, but Bill loved it. It was probably much like the practice of hanging your child's artwork on your refrigerator. In the end, you never know how that gesture just might somehow create a ripple effect. Hopefully a good one. My first efforts were really bad. Fortunately, people were supportive and encouraging. I dabbled in various auctions and was shocked to find that people were actually paying money. I began to receive thank you cards, and those fueled me to produce more and more art. Looking around at other prison artists, they seemed to focus on different goals. I wanted to be able to help people, to help causes, and if nothing else, to make people feel loved. So as the years progressed, my artistic skills became a little bit better. Not great, but better. And although I am very critical of each painting, occasionally I produce one that even I like. I found that some people who believe in specific charities or causes, they were eager to spend a lot of money on those causes, and my art was an object they could hang on their office or home. A conversation piece to open dialogue about that cause or about me, the artist. Another friend, Danielle, came up with the name Domino Deeds. She designed and originally set up the Facebook Domino Deed page. She is no longer the administrator due to the growth of her company, Creative Options. Now Domino Deeds is administered by friends in Germany, Steffi and Jamie. They too are both artists. Together we hope to touch lives and somehow encourage those we touch to then touch others. A person does not need to be an artist. Virtually anyone involved in any occupation can make a difference. Often people just need a simple nudge, an encouraging word, or to have their achievements hanging on the front of a refrigerator door.
That is very true. Now, as I understand it, you donate anywhere from 30 to 150 or more pieces of artwork at one time to each cause. Can you tell us why you send so many?
Well, I use acrylic paints. Fortunately, my studio, as one tourist called it, consists of 2 large tables. It's located a couple steps from my cell. I'm able to work on several pieces at once, like an assembly line. I keep my prices low and affordable so everyday people on fixed incomes can obtain the same art as wealthy folks do. My logic is that if I send a charity 30 pieces, your lowball estimate of profit margin for a specific charity or cause would be $20 a piece. So you would maybe expect $600 going to that charity's pocket. But, as we know, $600 doesn't go far. If I increase that to 150 pieces of art, the new lowball profit increases to $3,000. We all know a lot can be accomplished with $3,000. We were once able to send 64 kids from a center to the zoo. We fed all 64 plus 22 chaperones. We paid for the zoo admission, gift bags, T-shirts, an all-day event for a mere $2,000. So if I can make things happen with a few pints of paint, I'm happy to do it. I have donated 700 paintings to a TED Columbus event to promote Domino Deeds, the concept. People were there paid $106 per seat for that event. We were in contact with one of the producers of the Ellen DeGeneres show, discussing my providing free paintings for each of her audience members to promote the concept. Discussions have not progressed.
How do you choose what organizations to donate to, or do you get requests?
Often we learn of individual tragedies that happen in our daily lives. I try to keep several paintings on hand in order to move quickly to step in, offering a hand. I became aware of a newborn child enduring so many medical issues, the hospital bills mounting to over $500,000. I sent off 20 paintings. The child's family raised $10,000. Barely a drop in a bucket, but every drop helps. Sometimes I learn of people who are battling cancer. One such lady, I sent her a landscape and a note. This lady was so touched that a total stranger would do such a thing. She told me how good the painting made her feel. We at Domino Deeds are always aware of everyday causes and organizations in need. We do tend to focus on the causes that are low-key, homegrown. While I have teamed up with the major organizations like Make-A-Wish Foundation, I often prefer to simply look around and see how I can help those who are reluctant to even ask for help. We often reach out to mom-and-pop operations. or new businesses trying to get up and running. Sometimes such a small gesture is that final piece of the puzzle in building a road to success.
Wow. Out of all the individuals and organizations you have contributed to, which one has made the biggest impact on you personally?
Wow, Candace, that's a tough question. My first thought is that if I had children, which one would I say I love more than the other? In all honesty, many of the causes touch my heart, and I become emotional. I would prefer to not get choked up because, after all, 100% of the people I touch are strangers, and I would think it wouldn't be personal. I would think I could be more effective if I could somehow distance myself from feeling the pain, the despair, the hopelessness others feel. But at the end of the day, I am, after all, human. Years after I was involved in the zoo visit for the 64 kids, I encountered an audience member, a young man now mature. He told me that he had been one of those kids that had spent the day at that zoo. And he told me that was one of the best experiences and memories he had ever experienced in his life. I was grateful. The house lights had not been turned on, my tears shielded by the dark. As the young man turned to walk away, I wondered just what type of person he had become. Has he too reached out to those in need? Did my actions plant a seed, and has that seed multiplied? Yet, on the other hand, being the catalyst to enable a young girl who is in the stage 4 of her cancer battle to arrange for her and her sister and her parents to spend several days at Disney World, no financial worries overshadowing their ability to create memories, it is hard to top that as well. Providing a means for shelter animals to survive, or enabling a youth band to purchase instruments, or arranging a festive gathering with food for 546 children in the foster care system, every single need that we at Domino D's engage in all have a unique way of touching our hearts. There have been so many, I could spend days talking about them.
I bet you could. I really bet you could. How has art helped you during your incarceration? Do you find that it's therapeutic and calming, and is it a source of excitement for you?
I used to be addicted to drugs and alcohol, choices I made, no fault of anyone but myself. When I quit cold turkey in 1990, I exchanged those negative behaviors into positive behavior with art. It is not at all uncommon for me to spend 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, painting. Some people jokingly say I am like Bob Ross on crack. In a way, art may have saved my life. With art, I find myself at peace. All of my landscapes come from my imagination. I am lacking in the ability to duplicate on canvas any image I might see. I do experience excitement when I receive feedback from people who share with me stories of how my art impacted their life, cause, or mission.
That is so cool. Now, do you believe that art has the power to change lives?
Absolutely, yes. I've seen it countless times. No matter what age a person is that receives my art, I have never, ever heard of a negative experience. I once gave a parent 25 paintings for her to give to her 15-year-old son. I asked her to please not prod him, for her to sit back and see just what he decides to do with the 25 paintings, an experiment to better educate me on the thought process of today's youth. This 15-year-old gifted each painting to elderly neighbors and random people he encountered in a grocery store. Art has enabled me to touch 8,820 lives. During this interview, a mural on canvas I just gifted to the Ragtag Worship Team, a Christian band, is now a permanent backdrop for every performance they put on. Domino Deeds will be shared with everyone in their audiences. Who can say what might happen? It's exciting to wait and see. Something fantastic is always on the horizon.
Yes, it is. What advice would you share with newly convicted who may not understand that they too can make an impact in the world?
Well, the bulk of people entering prisons today, they are broken. Their lives have reached the bottom of a barrel. Most are not familiar with the system, let alone the laws in their states. The sound of that door slamming and locking behind you does not change you. In most cases, it takes years before an imprisoned person begins to self-evaluate, seriously begin to think, begin to feel the pain he or she has inflicted on their loved ones, their victims, their community, their neighbors, their friends. I would advise to everyone to focus on addressing the path that led to prison. Accept responsibility, walk away from addictive behavior, avoid sports, gang activity, be yourself. Don't get caught up in mindless games like Magic, Dungeons and Dragons, cards, dominoes, chess. Focus on fixing the things you have broken. If you have craft abilities, by all means, try to share them. Often, every human has a story to share. Perhaps your story can help someone else to avoid the path that led you to where you are at. If you can help that one person before it is too late, that speaks volumes.
Yes, it does. It really does. What kind of feedback do you get as a result of your thousands of contributions over the past 30-plus years?
Well, while there are countless stories that eventually reach my ears, there are far too many paintings distributed that I never get any feedback about. People may be doing really cool things, but they simply are not documenting it on the Domino Deed Facebook page.
Well, hopefully we can help share the message and get more of those shared for you. How do you plan to expand the concept of Domino Deeds?
I must say, interviews such as this are extremely valuable avenues to share with society that such a simple thing exists. I hope word of mouth will help too.
And word of mouth always is the best advertising, I find. Now, for our listeners, what if a person has no artistic abilities? How can he or she become part of the Domino Deeds concept?
I can remember a lady I met. She told me she wished she could paint so she could do what I do. I asked her out of curiosity what she did for a living. She said that she worked in a beauty shop as a beautician. I asked her if she would be able to arrange for one free hair makeover a month to a total stranger. She said, well, yeah. I asked her if she ever encounters a mother in the grocery store with several young children, the mother looking like she just needs a break from the everyday madness. The beautician indicated she had seen several people who fit that description. A few months later, I ran into this beautician. She rushed up to me and told me about this young mother who had 3 small children. She invited to get a free domino do, as she called it. They started getting together weekly, and the beautician, who always wanted kids, became quite fond of the children, as well as friends with the mother. A year into their friendship, the mother canceled their scheduled get-together. Concerned, the beautician drove to the mother's apartment to find her in tears. The mother had been experiencing pain for a very long time, but had no health insurance, so by the time the pain had become unbearable, the cervical cancer had taken control. Before her death, she asked the beautician to please carry on her motherly duties to her 3 darlings. I've never seen the beautician again. I can only hope and pray that the Domino Deeds do is being shared to others and impacting their lives in a positive way.
Wow, that is a powerful story. With Domino Deeds, it seems like you've become a voice for the voiceless. Is that a fair observation? Has Domino Deeds been a catalyst for other interests in your life as well?
Yes, that is a fair observation. Sadly, too often people with suffering are unable to speak up. I find that it is wise to straighten up one's own house before casting shade on someone else's house. Behind bars, thousands upon thousands simply are not equipped to understand the laws or how the Senate or House work, how important communication is. Most prisoners simply go with the flow. I became with parole, sentence, and prison reform issues. People assume that legislators know everything, but they only see statistics. We only become human when we act human. In society today, there are many celebrities taking part in reform. Locally in Ohio, we have the Ohio Justice and Policy Center, a project called Beyond Guilt. It was created by attorney David Singleton, and a new reform group called Change Begins With Us. They too are making strides in their own lane. The stories of those behind bars need to be shared. People need to listen today because tomorrow it could be even their neighbor, their family member, or even them behind bars. It can happen in the blink of an eye. You can have a much louder voice out there than you can in here. I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of Life of a Lifer. I hope that my segment will open eyes, create dialogue, and touch your heart. I come in peace. I am Jim Fussell, and again, I thank you.
Well, Jim, I want to personally thank you for taking the time to share your story with us, and to just applaud you on your efforts. The amount of art that you sent out to the charities is staggering, and it's amazing how much of a difference that you're making. And you do need to know that even if people aren't sharing it, those ripple effects, they take a hold and they continue. I just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts here at Life of a Lifer for doing what you do. It shows great selflessness. So thank you so much for being a part of our program today.
Hey, I'm back. This is Taylor here at the Life of a Lifer, and I just want to thank you for tuning in. That was a wonderful interview, and great job, Salty. That's Salty Candace. She is a great correspondent, and we are truly appreciative of her dedication and the passion that she is showing. You know, at this segment, what I like to do is get a question from the audience and an answer for them. So anybody who has a question, just go ahead and find us on Instagram or Twitter at A Life of a Lifer, or you can hit us up on thelifeofalifer.com. That's lifeofalifer.com. And you can ask your questions. You can check out other episodes of Life of a Lifer, and we will have more and more episodes on the actual website, along with other merchandising stuff and different things that we have going on. You know, I have my book on there, The Convicted Entrepreneur, which not only is great for people that are incarcerated and want to do something positive with themselves and start to build a career while still incarcerated, working towards getting out, whether they have a long sentence or a short sentence, but it's also great for anybody trying to start a small business or do something creative with their spare time or get into a full-time business that they create. So you can find that on Amazon or several different platforms where you can find books, and you know, it's in ebook format as well as it's on paperback as well. Anyways, so I got a question here from somebody who also has a loved one that is incarcerated, and their concern is that they're serving a long-term sentence. Their loved one, their dear friend or family, and they think that basically the person doesn't really tell them what's going on with them. Like, they say everything's okay, but they're worried that, you know, their mental state is not okay. Like, they don't think that they're all right, but they just tell them that they are. And so I guess they're asking me what my perspective on that is. And, you know, in all honesty, it is difficult at times. But life, it doesn't matter what situation you're in, it's going to be difficult at times. And this situation can be amplified because of the circumstances of being in prison and losing hope and everything. But what I can say is that the support and love from people that are outside really does help me anyways. When I feel really down, like throughout the holiday season, I felt quite down myself, actually. You know, and it's a difficult time for me because I remember Christmas as a happy time of the year. Even if everything else was going wrong, Christmas always seemed to be like a joyful time of year. However, in prison, it's difficult because I don't have that. But having somebody who cares, somebody who is there for you during that time, whether it be somebody in here but from somebody out there that cares about you and loves you, if you show that support to your loved one or friend that's incarcerated, that can really make a difference and get you through those hard times and let you know that, hey, somebody does still care about you. You're not just forgotten about. Still makes you feel like a person. I don't know, at least for me, when I go through hard times, if somebody's there and kind of just says, hey, you know, it's all right, I love you, or I care about you, that makes it a little more bearable, and I'm able to manage those hard times better. But I get myself into a mind state to where I don't let myself fall into being, I guess, depressed. I mean, it can be depressing at times. Like, I'll have hard times where I get down about things, or I'll be sad due to different stuff that's going on, or just kind of feeling that melancholy wishing of, hey, I wish that I could see the light of day. But, you know, then I focus on the positive stuff. So I'm okay, like, and I don't know particularly the case in this instance, because it could very well be that there are other things going on. But, you know, I do believe that on an individual basis, being able to overcome that, and if you are in that person's life, like, and I encourage other people to reach out to inmates, and particularly ones that are serving long sentences, to show some companionship, or, you know, just care as a human in general, because that really goes a long way. I mean, it really does, especially if they don't really have anybody that cares about them, or if they were to die, nobody would really even notice. And so that type of stuff, I believe, goes a long ways, and I encourage people to just reach out, because that can really make a difference in somebody's life. So, anyways, I want to appreciate and thank everybody who is dedicated and listening and helping and supporting the project, because we are a community. This is a community that we're building of support and positivity, bridging the gap between incarceration and freedom, and finding a way to build a platform that provides support and encouragement, and a place for people to do things that will allow them to grow in the right direction, in a positive manner, to support people who are doing things with their time that is, you know, good, and people who have gotten out and are living examples of success, and that is possible, and that is what we stand for. That's what we're all about. So I encourage you to join the community, get on our Instagram, whether it's Design Conviction, Life of a Lifer, you know, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, anywhere you want to go. We have our online community on designconviction.com, as well as we are growing lifeofalifer.com, and I encourage you to really just reach out, participate, and be a part of it, because that is how you're actually going to make a difference, and that is how all of this can really make a change. So thank you very much, and have a great day.
Keep on walking.